So, I watched all 12 episodes of the Castlevania cartoon that looks like an anime and is not an anime because the major databases refused to include it. I found it mostly boring when they were talking and very fun when they were fighting. And I know that makes me sound like a stupid action junkie, but what did you expect me to say with the kind of content it had? Nobody plays Castlevania for the plot, they played to kick the crap out of monsters. And although there was fighting in the show, it was taking up about 20% of it. The rest of it was talking and talking and talking some more. Obviously there was stuff going on during the dialogues, especially flashbacks that were fleshing out the characters. I liked that part, but even that was about 20% of the dialogue. The rest of it was nagging about the cruelty of the world with the style of a 14-year-old edgelord. And I'm not saying the games weren't coming off as such most of the time, it's just that, again, you were playing them for the action, not the wangst. The series comes off as a love letter to wrist-cutting emos. The character that stands out the most is obviously Dracula, since he's the center of everything that is going on. The way he was handled was a mixed bag. On one hand, he's a tragic character with excused motivations and signs of remorse. On the other, he doesn't come off as the merciless King of Darkness they kept hyping him to be. This is not the Lords of Shadow alternative timeline from the games, where he's neither a tragic figure nor that late in the original timeline when he slowly gets over it. It's still in the beginning, when he's an almost one-dimensional bad guy who wants to kill humanity with the only excuse being the death of his wife by religion. Obviously it's not a faithful adaptation and we shouldn't hold it against it because of it, but even when you see it as a show that stands on its own, it's not that good because for a guy who has a huge army of monsters and planned to take over the world, he couldn't even deal with a single region and was beaten after a few minutes of a battle where he was mostly crying about humanity and shit. He didn't come off as the dangerous and powerful guy he was hyped up to be. He was the one that triggered everything, and he was just a disappointing crybaby. Now, let's talk a bit about the good guys, which are more like support cast. Belmont is the one tasked to beat Dracula, and he comes off as a rogue anti-hero, which is cool, but saying he's memorable or charismatic is a stretch, since the stuff happening around him are far more interesting than whatever he is doing. You never feel like he could actually defeat Dracula, since he struggles to beat a few minions throughout the series. In fact, he didn't destroy the evil army, nor he beat Dracula. Others did that. And as much as that sounds positive because he's not overpowered and other characters are equally capable, ultimately it feels like he was lucky, not capable. He didn't plan anything, everything was working in his favor for the sake of plot. It was basically coming down to, oh, lucky me, I found a witch to teleport the castle. Oh, lucky me, I found Dracula's son to kill the final boss for me. Oh, lucky me, I found the vampire killer accidentally, so I can kill a few nobodies with it. Oh, lucky me, there's a vampire rebellion exactly when I'm about to storm the castle. He's just walking from one plot convenience to another, and the support characters do far more important things than him, who is supposed to be the only specialist at defeating vampires. That comes off as lazy writing, and he comes off ineffective as a hero. By the way, the support characters are the ones doing most things in the story in general. When they are not in flashback mode, the good guys study magic to get to the castle, and the bad guys plot to overthrow Dracula. This is good shit, and it's not the main characters doing them. Belmont spends his time tripping on plot conveniences, and Dracula does nothing besides mopping in his castle by saying stuff like, bad religion, kill humanity. But even then you have to wait for it, since as I said, they talk a lot, and most of what they are saying is shallow emo poetry about the cruelty of the world. Oh god, stop talking and fight already! When they eventually fight, the show is highly entertaining. It has well-directed battle choreographies, and they are not holding back on the gore. If half the duration was like that, the show as a whole would be amazing. Instead of that, you are mostly watching people sitting on chairs, info-dumping, and not doing something interesting. The only thing I can praise Castlevania for is the visuals, which are some of the best I have seen in years. With anime being notorious for not having much animation and relying more and more on terrible CGI, and with modern cartoons having devolved into lol random comedy flash animations, Castlevania is almost movie quality. Too bad it wasn't used in a show with a better script. But even so, if you just want to see Sakuga and can maintain your interest through the ridiculously long dialogues about emo poetry, you will love this show. As for me, I only liked the action and the visuals. Everything else is subpar at best. As a whole, it's serviceable, but ultimately mediocre.